on our live. And that's the thing. We need a platform where people can actually sit in and listen. For those who don't want to talk, for those who don't want to engage or connect, they just want to listen and figure themselves out or figure their situation out. That's fine. Then you have the others who are looking for people to connect with, for people to help them heal, right? And as well as them help others, because this is what we want. We want to continue. I'm not gonna say recruit, but we want to spread love, spread respect, spread comfort in expressing your feelings, expressing what you feel, expressing what you went through. Because remember, not only are you saving yourself, but you're also saving other lives. You never know the person that's reading your caption, that's watching the content that you're uploading, who feels like committing suicide and finally decided not to commit suicide because of the content you're putting up, because of the caption you just wrote, because of the message you just sent. You're saving lives out here without knowing. And I know this is my purpose. This is Pastor Carlos's purpose. When Pastor Carlos and I started this platform, we weren't well prepared to start this platform. We weren't waiting for success to start this platform. What we were doing was, you know what? The time is now. It's the time to start now, because we were guided to this point, or to that point then, up until now, of course. And we're not planning on stopping. We're going to continue to go. We're going to continue to grow as we go. That's the whole purpose. But we don't want to do it just for us. We want to do it for you as well. We want to bring you guys along. We want to bring you all along. Everyone deserves peace. Everyone deserves healing. Everyone deserves forgiveness. Everyone deserves the good that this world has to offer. We already know that many people has gone through it. They've been going through it. They're currently going through it. We all go through it. I go through it. As perfect as my life may seem, if it seems perfect, it's not. It's not perfect. But it's all about how we look at it. It's all about how we handle it. That's what it's all about. It's all about perspective and mindset. And that goes for every area. That's all areas in your life. It's all about perspective and mindset. How far are you willing to take your life? How far are you willing to take your career? How far are you willing to take your relationship? How far are you willing to take your vision? It's all on you. It's all about what you got here and what you got in your heart. But if you're not good in the mind or in your heart, then how are you expecting to be good in other areas of your life? How would that even be possible? And this is what we're here for. Make sure that you maintain that stability. We want everyone to be healthy, healthy over everything, healthy overall. Health should be first priority in your life, and then all else comes after. Of course, money is important. We know that. Finance is important, definitely, no doubt. But if you're not healthy, how are you able to move forward with your daily tasks, with your daily goals? How are you able to move forward with your vision, with what you have in mind, with the ideas? How are you going to bring it to life if you're not right in the mind and in your heart? How? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So it's time to accept whatever stage you're in, accept whatever phase you're in, accept wherever you are in life right now. And it's time to continue to move forward no matter what that situation is, no matter what that stage is, no matter what that phase is. Let me see, Pastor Carlos sent the request. Let's go ahead and get Pastor Carlos connected. But, we'll keep talking more and more as we go. Once again, episode 63. Want to thank everyone who's connected with us on Instagram, everyone who's connected with us on YouTube, everyone who's connected with us on Facebook. Really appreciate you all taking the time to join us every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. It means so much to us. You have no idea. This platform is nothing without you all, without those who are destined to join either today or in the near future. Thank you for those who've been sharing the videos. Thank you for those who've been sharing the live videos. When we're connected, they use the paper plane option on the bottom right corner to send it via DM, to send it via text, to send it via email. Thank you for those who have engaged in the past in the messages, for those who felt comfortable putting their testimony out on live video, major testimonies. Really want to thank you all for that. Pastor Carlos, how you doing, man? How's everything, big bro?
Doing good,
Nice.
bro. Doing good, man. Cannot complain. Uh, Rough start to the week, being a little bit sick, but man, the Lord's got me back up to speed right on
Nice.
time. So blessed, bro. Blessed. Cannot complain.
Glad to hear that,
Blessed.
big bro. Not sure if you was listening in. Um,
You dropping
nice.
gems already.
But here we are, man, another week. As I was mentioning before, episode 63, we've come a long way and we're not planning on stopping here. So much, and this is nothing, there's so much more work that needs to get done, so much more that we're gonna do eventually, and you'll get to witness it. You'll get to see it, firsthand. For those who's been supporting us from the beginning, for those who are watching us, there's gonna be so much more ahead. I'm super excited. It feels really good to be able to provide for others, to help others, no matter what we got going on in life, man. Because again, my life ain't perfect. Life is not easy at all, but I'm not dwelling. I'm not complaining. And I was a complainer in my past. I would dwell in my past. And that route was so much easier, right? Because I would use that excuse to justify my current situation, to justify why I'm feeling a certain way, to justify not to get things done throughout the day. Not that I didn't want to get it done, but I would justify the reason why I didn't get something done today, or why I'm not going to get things done in the next few days. And I know many of us can relate. Many of us can relate to this. We're not perfect. Again, I've been there. I've been there many times, and it got to a point where I said, "This is done with. I am over it. I'm not going to let myself down. I'm not going to let these obstacles hold me down. I'm not going to let the enemy attack and hold me down. It's time for me to retaliate. If there's attacks coming my way, I'm going to just retaliate. It's coming right back. And that's towards the enemy. That's towards the enemy. Um, but yeah, man, it's not stop. It's not stop from here. So, big bro, I mean, episode 63, man, it's it's been a journey. You know what I'm saying? It's been a
Wow.
journey.
Especially if y'all knew the attacks, the struggles, like you said, before I joined, I was there listening, not waiting for the perfect time, knowing that we had to do what we had to do, that God was calling us to do it now, that He wasn't looking for perfection, nothing like that, and seeing the fruit, right? Because you could tell what's going on. You could tell that God's in the middle of it based on the fruit, and seeing the fruit of how people have connected, how we've seen people's lives transformed and everything like that, how people come to us with stuff, and little by little people have been changing. The fruit's there in so many different instances that I'm not gonna, we could start making a list, but we're not gonna go do that. um it just goes to show what happens when you're obedient, and like you said, bro, literally in a very, very, very short period of time, in the span of just a few weeks here, people gonna be seeing a lot of what God has been setting up. Um, you know, God willing, before March is over, there's gonna be info out there in terms of what's going on, and it's like, yo, we're people are gonna be helped. Those that want to be helped are gonna be helped. Those that want to receive more truth will receive more truth. Those that want to be freed from the captivity that they've been stuck in are gonna be freed of the captivity that they're stuck in. Um, because it was never about us. It was about God going for His people. Um, Freeing the captives, because there's, like I said a few weeks ago, God gave me the message. There's a shift coming, and you go get to make a decision. Are you going to be part of the shift? Or are you going to stay where you at? That ain't on us. Uh, we've been sent to give messages. That's a personal decision, to each his own. So I'm just excited, bro. I'm excited for what we got going on. Like I mentioned last night to a group of people in our youth group that I was preaching to last night. Um, you know me, little bro. I
yeah,
hardly
yeah.
get sick, hardly ever get sick. Um, but you already know what's going down in March, you know? You already know what's going down in March. So the enemy's at like last ditch effort to slow things down, you know, to try to do whatever he could to slow things, at least put a pause for a few days, you know? It doesn't matter. Like you said, we attack back, we push back. It's not a game. We understand that. It's not a game out here. So
Let's
let's
go.
go,
Let's
bro.
go. I see Sonia there. God bless. God bless you and the family, Sonia. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I know it's been a while, but I know you've been watching though. I know you've been watching via YouTube and
Yep,
stuff. So
yep.
appreciate having you here, and hope all is well. And that goes for everyone who's watching us on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. So all right, let's go ahead and get started with episode 63. Episode 63. I want to go ahead and start off with how the first 2 months of 2023 are over. We are now in March. So the first 2 months, we can see and we know how time flies. We know we got a lot going on a daily. There's so much going on that time is just going. It's just flying by, especially when you're working so hard and attending to your family. Just in general, the responsibilities in general. Before we know it, it's summertime, right? And then winter, and then the year's over. But the first 2 months are over. Now, my question to everyone is, how was it? Has it been easy? I want you guys to think real quick. The first 2 months of 2023, has it been easy? Was it easy? Or was it hard? Did you allow the same people who wasted your time in 2022 wasted time in the first 2 months of this year? I'm just going to go with questions today. A lot of questions. And best believe if I'm asking you this question, I was asking myself these questions as well. And this was going to keep us in place, keep us focused, keep us strong. For those who need to get shifted back in track, placed back on track, it's going to happen today, for sure. Once again, did you allow the same people who wasted your time in 2022 waste your time in the first 2 months of this year, 2023? Have you made any changes? Have you made any changes? Is what's all over that question. Are you making any changes that you said you would? Remember, we spoke about New Year's resolution plenty of times before the year ended. We spoke about changes throughout the whole last year briefly on multiple episodes. Have you been applying exactly what you said you would starting 2023, moving forward? And we also mentioned how you don't have to wait for the new year to begin the changes, to start the changes. Have you started making those changes? I'm asking once again, have you started making those changes? Did you let yourself down? Because you see yourself doing the same. Because you see yourself how you told yourself you were going to make changes, yet you haven't made any changes. You've been telling yourself this is going to be the week, and it hasn't been the week. You've been telling yourself this is going to be the year, and it's not looking like it's going to be the year, right? Whatever it is that you're feeling, did you let yourself down? Did you keep your promise to your family? Big bro, I want to rewind if I may. Go ahead and
Yeah, go
rewind.
ahead.
The first 2 months of 2023 are over. Okay? There's 12 months in a year. We now have 10 left. The first 2 months are over. Was it easy? Or was it hard? Are you allowing the people that wasted your time in 2022 waste your time now in the first 2 months? Have you done anything to improve your circle, to make changes within your circle? Have you been working towards changing your mindset, your perspective, changing habits, replacing them with better habits, identifying bad habits. Because sometimes it takes us to identify, we have to identify bad habits in order for us to make those changes, right? To replace them with better or to just eliminate them overall. Are you making those changes like you said you would? Or are you letting yourself down? Did you keep your promise to your family? Take a few seconds. Many of us, again, in the past few months before the year ended, New Year's resolution, New Year resolution, I'm going to make these changes. 2023 is going to be my year. How many of you feel like it is not your year already because of the way it started? But what is it exactly that's making you think that? I feel like it's too soon for you to even determine. So don't let the enemy, don't let your situation, don't let that current stage you're in fool you. Because it's not about a new year, new you. You can be new tomorrow. It may take weeks, it may take months, but it starts today. It has to start today. With that said, the only person who has the ultimate control and power over your life is you. It all starts with you. If you haven't made those changes, you have the time now. You're still breathing. You're waking up to see another day. God has been blessing you daily with oxygen in your lungs, sight, cognitive, physical, everything. You're able to move forward. You're able to make changes. Why not start today? It's never too late. Don't let the people that you have around you with bad influence fool you. Or you may be the bad influence. But regardless of whatever the case is, change has to take place now. You have to make those changes if you want a better tomorrow. If you want to see a better version of you, if you want to see yourself in a better situation, if you want to experience growth, you have to make changes. You have to accept. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask the questions that I just finished asking. And there's a whole lot more for this episode. That's nothing. So I feel like we started hard. Like we're getting straight to it. Stop letting people drain you of all your energy. How many of us have had this happen in the past? How many of us are going through it right now? Where we're being drained, stressed, we're being used. You don't feel comfortable around the people you've been hanging around with lately. You're building insecurities, not even knowledge, wisdom, insecurities. You don't feel secure. Lack of respect amongst the peers, lack of respect for yourself. Yet you don't want to make the changes. You're just taking situations as it comes. Trying to understand why, when in fact, the second you're disrespected, you have to quickly remove that person or remove yourself. It's not going to do you any good or the other party. So don't wait for a situation to get worse to make the change. As soon as you feel something's not right, it's time to evaluate and make the change immediately. March 1st is this week. Create a plan to make the changes you need to make. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just take action. You don't have to wait for tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next week. You don't have to wait to party hard this weekend to then do it different. No, it starts today. It starts today. Love yourself more. Respect yourself more. Continue to love others. Respect others. Are you willing to create that plan? Are you willing to create that plan? Big bro, I'm going to say one more thing and then I'll go ahead and pass it over to you. The more you feed your mind with positive thoughts, the more amazing things take root and happen. That is because you attract what you think about most. Whatever it is that you go through on a daily, whatever it is that you're feeling on a daily, whatever it is that you're thinking about on a daily, it's what's going to come to life, believe it or not. Whatever you put your focus on, it's exactly what you're going to be receiving. Not saying that if you think about positivity all the time, there's nothing negative that's going to come your way. No, of course, there's always going to be negative coming your way. But your perspective won't let you switch your focus onto the negative. It's going to continue to focus on the positive, focus on the good, focus on what's beyond the negativity. Whether it's someone bringing that negative vibe towards you, whether it's someone that's offering negativity to you, just negativity in general. It's all about what you're thinking on a daily, what you're feeding yourself on a daily. If you are trying to focus on creating wealth, learning a skill, or personal development, just business development in general, what type of content are you watching on your social media? What type of content are you focusing on social media? What is it exactly that you're searching for on Google? What are the books that you're reading, if you're reading any books, or audiobooks for some, because reading is not for everyone. Thank God for audiobooks, which is great, right? I do a lot better with audiobooks than I do with physical books because I retain information a lot better. But what are you doing to make sure that you stay on track? Are you watching violence, fights, and comedy on social media, or searching that stuff on Google, or accepting those friends in the chat that are sending you those type of content or that type of content? You got to get yourself with the people who are where you want to go. Whatever your destination is, whatever your goal is, you got to be around the people that are driven or who are already there, who are trying to get there or already there. Seek mentors. Seek the people that can help you in general. Not only towards getting into a field, but molding your mind and ways and self into who you should be before you get there. It's easy for me to talk about this because I've been on the other side. Like we all have, or like the majority of people are in right now, where we focus on the wrong things, partying every weekend, drinking every weekend. So the whole week consists of how many hours am I going to complete so I can have enough money to make it happen on the weekend. Selling myself short the whole time for multiple years, which is the reason why it took so long to get to where I'm at mentally and physically. Now, that doesn't mean that you all have to go through the same thing. Obviously, the more we go through, the more we learn, but life is really about some people being made or broken based on that. Some people don't make it out. They continue to do the same thing. They can't break out of it. They can't break out of that habit or that routine. They're still doing the same thing today. And some people don't see anything wrong with it. So are you willing to stay in the same position that you're in? Are you willing to stay around those people who are really no good for you? We're all about spreading awareness, waking people up, healing people, helping people recover from multiple situations. By having these discussions, we're able to pull you out. Because once again, you're not perfect. You just need the right people around you more often. It doesn't have to be all the time, more often. Because you have to know how to act and think and behave, even when those mentors, advisors, counselors, friends are not around, or family. But then the most important thing is that you learn from it, and then you have to pass it on to the next person. Pass it on to your children, pass it on to your friends, pass it on to your associates, pass it on to your department if you're in charge of a department at work. Pass it on throughout your business if you're a business owner. Because what you do and what happens around you determines your future. So are you going to wait to make changes and to make things happen? Or are you going to start today? You got to plant the seeds today. You got to plant the seeds today. So you can actually see what your future is going to be like. So you can actually plan what your future is going to be like. It's like I always say, your current situation is not your final destination. You can always make changes. You're in charge of your garden. What are the seeds that you have to plant today? Courage, removal of fear, good influence, positivity. What are the seeds that you need to plant into your garden? So you can watch these plants and you continue to water it daily, focusing. I'm not good with gardening. I'm just, just in case. I know nothing about it, but it's such a great example because the same care you give the soil, the seeds, the plants in general, is what determines what it's going to look like at the end. And you have to look at yourself the same way. You have to look at your life the same way. What is it that you want in your life? Who is it that you want in your life? What is it that you need in your life? You always got to prepare yourself for what's coming. You always got to prepare in general, no matter what season you're in. You always got to prepare yourself. And always know that you will always have someone to talk to. And the day that you feel that you don't have anyone to talk to, you just don't have the right people around you. You don't have the right people around you. But there are sources out there. There are people out there just like you going through it. There are people out there who are great people and are wanting to help you. There are people out there willing to help others heal at no cost. At no cost. But you have to put your part, which is taking action, reaching out, because you never know who you're going to meet. You just never know you're going to meet. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I talk about the whole partying thing. It's okay for you to enjoy your life, to have fun. Everything with a limit. You got to set limits in your life. But if you're not comfortable with your situation, there's something that you may be doing wrong. There's something that you may be doing wrong. So you have to ask yourself, what is that? What is it that I have to do? What areas do I have to change? Do I have to improve? We all have areas that we have to improve. Till this day, I have areas where I have to improve. We're all sacrificing something, our time, our energy, time with our family, because we have a whole bunch of responsibilities or a whole bunch of goals that we want to take care of. And if we don't do it now, then when is it going to be done? There's a whole bunch of sacrifices. But think about those sacrifices that you made in the past. When our parent or parents used to tell us, take it easy on the hangout. You should start saving money from now. Trust me, you're going to need it. There's so much more than just partying. There's so much more than just hanging out. There's so much more than just being on a corner. There's so much more than just being on a phone for 2 or 3 hours. There's so much more than just playing video games. There's so much more for this. There's so much more for that, because life is full of opportunities. But it's on us if we're going to go after them. Because ain't nobody giving handouts out here. It's very rare for someone to come knock on your door and tell you, I have an opportunity for you. You have to send an email. You have to make a phone call. You have to send a text message. You have to put yourself in that environment, in that place, in that event, in order to be exposed to these people, places, and things that can actually help you in life in general. I learned that the hard way. I thought because I was nice, I'm like, hey, things should be coming my way. I have great intentions. Yeah, you can have all the intentions in this world, but if you're not out there getting it, you may not even get it. You may find yourself in the same situation. You may have to be breaking routines in order for you to get to some place where you never expected to get those gems that you've been expecting, those blessings. And it's major. It's very important for you to focus on you. Make sure to put yourself first. Make sure to focus on your health. And when I say health, overall, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. Finance, I leave that for last. Because if I'm not good, there's no way that I'm going to be able to focus on my finance. If I'm not thinking straight, how am I able to give a message right now? How would I be able to do so? If this ain't real, what I'm saying, how would I even be able to express it so well? From deep down, straight from my heart, onto this camera. Why would I want to keep all this in me, to myself? Why would I want to do that? This shows that all that we've been doing with our platform, we mean everything we say. Our intentions are extremely pure. Pastor Carlos himself expresses himself. He's very transparent. We're not here to sell dreams. We're not here to sell images. Like, we're here in the field with you. We're in the field with you. We're not selling you a course. We're not selling you a course to show you step by step how you're going to get things done, how you're going to get this done, how you're going to overcome that obstacle. We're not selling you a course. We have a lot that we got to take care of, but this is one of them. Every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. It's our purpose. It's our assignment. It's what we're supposed to do. It's our passion. It's exactly what we want to do. We're not doing it for the views. We're not doing it for the likes. We're not doing it for the gram, for the book, for the tube. We're doing it because it's what's in us. And you deserve it too. But not to keep it to yourself. Whatever you receive, you got to go ahead and pass it on. Because it all starts with us. It all starts with us. Big bro, I'll go ahead and pass it on because I got a whole lot of other questions here.
Man, you hit the nail on the head on so many things, and just to make a little joke, but funny enough, as much of a joke as it is, right? It actually ends up being the truth. I've seen a meme here over the last few weeks, maybe the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a kid that says it's you know, you've probably seen the meme. It's a little black kid. A lot of times he's either counting money or looking at the calculator or something like that. And now they got one where he's like, God, like, oh my gosh. And he's like, he says something along the lines of, I went ahead and I signed up for a book to teach me how to not get scammed, and it still hasn't arrived yet. You know? And it's like, you know, you hit the nail on the head with something, because it just makes me think, like you said, here are people that are giving you a message that God wants to give you in terms of, you know, to free you, right? To wake you up, to free you from the bondage that you're in, to help your life get better and everything like that. And sometimes it makes me wonder, if we were charging for it, would you believe it then? Because some people just don't believe it because it's free. But then again, Christ gave a whole lot for free. You got a bunch of people that don't want to believe it. Many of them call themselves believers, which is the worst part. So it's just speaking truth, speaking facts, right? So with that said, again, we're going to come and give you truth. I love one of the things that you said right before we got to the end of last year. And forgive me if you see me sipping water while I take breaks. Still a little bit of recovering, so you know I can get a little bit winded. One of the things that we spoke about last year, you hit the nail right on the head, right? You don't have to wait for the start of the new year to change, to expect that things are going to change. We said that at the beginning of last year. In fact, we even gave you the warning that a lot of people at the very beginning of the year, the moment they mess up, the first week, the first couple of weeks, the moment they make it a trend for a month, 2 months, they automatically give up and they're moving on to the next, right? Thinking like, okay, I might as well give up for this year and next year will be my year. Let me put this to you this way, as plainly, as bluntly as I can, as honest as I can, because the Holy Spirit wants to give truth tonight. Things will not change until you decide to make the change yourself. You hit the nail on the head with that. You said it as plainly as you can. I'm going to go a step further. One thing that God calls us to do is to die to ourselves, okay? Die to your own self. Most of us don't want to die to our own self. Why? Because that means that there's sacrifice that needs to be made. That means that things that I want, I need to give up. That means that the lifestyle that I want to have, that God does not want me to have, I hate to break it to you, some of y'all want a lifestyle that God does not want you to have that lifestyle. I'm going to break this down for you in just a second. You don't want to give it up. You don't want to give up these particular friends. You don't want to give up this particular whatever in your life, right? And as a result, you're stuck where you're at, and you don't realize that the problem that you have is dying to yourself. You could die to yourself at any time. You don't got to wait till next year. Stop looking at a calendar. If you want to believe a calendar, I got a news flash for you. There's a number of different calendars out there. There's a Jewish calendar out there. There's a Roman calendar out there. There's a Chinese calendar out there. I mean, we could go through all kinds of, the Mayans had a calendar. You know what I'm saying?
I was just
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So we could go through calendars, you know, which calendar do you want to be on in order to make a switch to the next one, right? The word itself says, to the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. So in reality, let's be in the time of God. You can be in the time, you can be in his time and realize you could do this anytime, right? But here's the thing. You don't want to let things go because you are under the denial, under the deception of believing that certain things in your life are a blessing, or that maybe God wants to tempt you with the certain things in your life. Hate to break it to you, both of those things are absolute lies, and that's why everything that you have been trying to do doesn't seem to come to life. It's dying. Okay? Why? First of all, if you're like, yo, God wants me around these people because I'm dealing with this temptation. Really? Because the word says, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Absolutely right. He does. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say that God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. If you believe God is allowing you to be in that situation or around those people to tempt you, somebody got you twisted, because that ain't coming from God. So you got to ask yourself, if God is not the one bringing you the temptation, if God is not the one bringing you these friends or these whatever it is in your life that's bringing you in this situation to be like, I'm going to remain in it to see, you know, to show that I'm strong and all that stuff. You need to ask yourself, who's bringing you that situation? Who's bringing you those people? Who's bringing you those products? Who's bringing you that temptation in your life? Who's causing you to have all this stuff? Because you swear it's God. You swear up and down it's the Lord. And it ain't. Whether you fully believe or not. I see so many people who have a relationship with God or don't have a relationship with God, but believe in God, swear like, yo, God has placed this in my life and I'm going to withstand. Yo, if you believe that God is the one placing it in your life for you to withstand it, you've got the whole thing twisted and it's wrong. And your logic is already false. Your belief is already wrong. And get this, check it out. Right? Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. So in other words, even the very enemy's not tempting you, right? He's bringing you the situation. He's bringing you the people. He's bringing you the things. He's bringing you everything that you would want. Like it's right there. That temptation is coming from yourself. He just knows what to bring to you. And that temptation comes from you yourself. And that's what entices you. And that's what drags you away. And those desires give birth to sinful actions. So your mess ups, that's coming from you yourself. Like you notice, it's like one thing that I've said before, and I've heard other people preach it, and it's something that the Lord has given me before, and I think I've preached it here. When you mess up, when you sin against God, when you sin against your brother or sister, when you just sin in general, right? The enemy puts up his hands like, I ain't do nothing. Because you know what? He's absolutely right. He didn't do anything. Now, he's still going to get his because, you know, God has a place for that. You know, God has a place for the enemy. Believe me. But the one who fell into it is still you. This reminds me of something, bro. You know, I say this constantly. Somebody could do something wrong and have every reason in the world to do the wrong thing. They could go steal because they have nothing to eat, because they're living in poverty. They could drink because everything in their life is breaking apart, so they become a drunk or they go to drugs. You know what I'm saying? We could go down a laundry list. They go and cheat on their spouse because their spouse don't pay them any attention, or because their spouse was unfaithful too, or whatever you want to put it at, right? That might explain your actions, but it doesn't excuse it. Again, I'm going to say this one more time, because I think all of us have been there. It explains why you did what you did, but it does not excuse what you did. Same thing. If I know that your temptation is women, let's just say I'm being influenced by the enemy. Yo, let's go to the lounge. And you're like, nah, I'm really not feeling good. Bro, we got to go to the lounge. We got to hit the club. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I take you. And I know that your temptation is women. And so this is going to speak to some of y'all, because some of y'all have friends, right? And I put the air quotes around the friends. Some of y'all got friends who know what your weakness is, and they bring your weakness to you. So they know that you're trying to get right by not trying to hit the bottle, but they'll be bringing the drinks to your house. I've seen it so many times. They know that you've been struggling with drugs, maybe some hard drugs, and they go bring the drugs to your house or bring you around the drugs. Or they know that that what you get tempted with is women, and they go and they bring the girls to your house. Or when they say, yo, it's just a guy's day, let's go to the club or whatever. They don't mention the club, so they take you to a strip club. Or they take you to the lounge, but they, for some reason, decided to bring a few friends with them. Yeah, that's their fault for bringing it, but it's your fault for falling into it. And that's the problem. Some of us do not want to hear that, right? Because those desires that we have that come from within us give birth to the sinful actions. And when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. So you wonder why there's so many things that are breaking down in your life that you're like, yo, I don't see no life in this. This relationship's dying. This relationship's over here dying. My career is dying. My business is dying. My ministry is dying. My spiritual life is dying. This is dying. That's dying. Have you thought about what part you're playing in it? Because like you said, little bro, we have a decision to make. Have you made the decision? Because like you said, we could go as far as saying, okay, but I'm just going to wait for this blessing or whatever to come to my doorstep. Let me share with y'all something, right? I have seen certain people that have been blessed where literally they did nothing and things were going horrible and they did nothing. They did nothing. They did nothing. They did nothing. There was no action on their part. They did nothing. And you're just kind of like, yo, like a little push here. Like, come on, turn on the motor. Like you're going to get blessed by trying to do something. And they did nothing. And you know what? God still somehow, some way brought the perfect opportunity or the perfect blessing literally to their doorstep. Literally. I mean, I can't put it any other way. Literally brought it to them. Bro, do you think that changed their life? You know why? Because that same laziness, and I'm sorry, it's the truth, that same laziness that led to them not trying to do anything for themselves or not trying to change a situation or not trying to get out of something that they shouldn't be in and just figuring, oh, it's just going to change from one day to the next. When the blessing came, it still did not change them. And as a result, you know what happened with the blessing? It was a lost blessing. It goes to waste because the root of the issue has never been dealt with. And that's where we have an issue, because here, that same issue that's within them, right, leads them to essentially death, leads even the blessing that they receive to die. Nothing sucks more, and I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, little bro. Nothing sucks more than to hear, like, even when you get, like you received from like your parents or your friends, like, yo, you don't need to be on the block. You don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing that. You don't realize that those gems were blessings. Nothing sucks more than to realize the blessings that were in your hand and that you let them die. And you're like, man, well, that sucks. And I could tell y'all, like little bro mentioned it earlier, we can speak on it because we've been there. We've been on both sides, right? Like, again, like you mentioned, I'm very transparent. I did not realize the blessing, or I thought I realized it, but I didn't realize the extent of it. And I wish that I knew the information that the Lord has given me now, which he allows everything to happen for a purpose. I know the part of the purpose that part of the reason that he allowed it to happen was for me to go through my own stuff. And then he could use this, because he uses everything for good. Even your mess ups, he uses for good, for the good of those who love him, right? According to his purpose for them. So I know what my purpose is. And obviously my purpose is to go and pastor and to bring people out of what they're in. So obviously I went through this stuff because he was going to allow all of my mess ups and everything to be used to show people, like we're doing tonight, here's what you shouldn't do from experience, because this is going to help you hopefully take these blessings and go through, push through to the other side, hopefully with your blessing still intact. The transparency. It sucks to have been making 150, 200, 250, 300K over the span of a few years, not realizing the blessing that was in my hand, and believe that I'm helping people, which I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Believe that I'm being a good person. And yes, a lot of the stuff, it was like I was giving to the Lord what was his. I was giving offerings to church. I was doing all kinds of stuff, right? But I never asked God what he wanted me to do with the funds that he was blessing me with, because I thought that they were mine, and they're not. Here's a life lesson for y'all. Nothing that you have belongs to you. Some of y'all don't want to hear it, but I'm going to say it one more time. Nothing that you have belongs to you. Your life doesn't belong to you. At any moment that could be took, okay? The money you have, if you're doing well, don't belong to you. I can tell you from experience, you better be asking God how he wants you to use that money. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be using everything for him in the sense of like, oh, I don't get anything for myself. I gave him. No. He allows you to be blessed with that money, right? So that you can enjoy it, right? Absolutely. But sometimes you're using that money on stuff that you know absolutely very well that you shouldn't be using it on. Or you think you're blessing people. Bro, you and I have talked about it. Blessing people from experience. But you never asked the Lord if he wanted you to bless those people financially. And at the end of the day, the very thing that God maybe wanted to take those people out of, contributed to them staying there. You contributed to them falling into their temptation. But you thought you were doing a good thing. But you never conferred. You never checked in. You never asked for direction. And that's where we have an issue. Nothing is going to change ever if you don't stop for a second and say, like, yo, you know what? None of this stuff has been working out. Why? Ask why. You mentioned right in the very beginning, we're talking about questions, right? Ask yourself. At some point, make a list. Say, these are the things that I feel are going well. These are the things that are not going well. First of all, the things that are on the list that are going well, right? Ask yourself why they're going well. Because you want to make sure the Lord is in it. And not only that, you want to make sure that those things are not tempting you to go down the wrong road in the future. But the things that are not going well, which I think a lot of us have a laundry list of stuff that are not going well, ask why they're not going well. And ask if what you've done to try and change that. And I'm going to guarantee in the very beginning, you're going to find out you haven't even put God in the middle of it, ever. And like, ask your motives. If these things in your life go well, what's the purpose? What's the reason? Because like we talked about before, some of y'all don't understand. God is saving y'all from from going down the road you don't need to go down. I've seen money tear people apart. I've seen money lead to addictions. I've seen the famous P. Diddy and Biggie saying, more money, more problems. I've seen money lead to problems that you couldn't believe. I've seen marriages dissolve because of money, because people got greedy. I've seen friendships dissolve over money because people got greedy. I've seen family dissolve over money because people got greedy. I've seen business partners bicker over money. I've seen people get shot over money. I've seen people go down a road of addiction. Same thing, relationships. I've seen people lose family over a relationship, or lose family over work, or lose relationships over another relationship. Or let me go a step further. I've seen people give up their relationship with God, give up their spiritual life, give up God knows how many blessings, right? Over money, women, friends, work. I can make a list, because once they obtained those things, it was like, almost like, what do I need God for? And you know what happens? Sometimes you get blessed with the wrong thing, not realizing that your internal desires will lead to certain stuff. You don't realize that will lead to you lifting yourself up as if you were God. And suddenly you start idolizing yourself, and you start idolizing those things. And then you wonder why everything broke down. And let me share with you. Becoming an idol, or idolizing things, that's a very high pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Many times we think of things as like, what do you feel like when you get an achievement, little bro? When you feel like you've achieved something great, you feel like a very commonly used metaphor for it is like you've climbed that mountain, you've scaled that mountain. And when you finally reach the pinnacle of what you think was the top of the mountain, right? Like what you really wanted to achieve. Oh, I really wanted that apartment. Oh, I really wanted that house. Oh, I really wanted that relationship. Oh, I really wanted that career. Oh, I really wanted this money. I really wanted this car. I really wanted this. I really wanted that. You feel like you've gone through things and you've had to climb that ladder. You've had to climb that mountain. And especially when you feel that the struggle has been hard, you're like, man, I made it to the top of the mountain. And if you're not careful and you've lifted yourself up, or you've lifted that thing up as an idol at that top of that mountain, when you fall, because at some point you will, or when you lose that thing that you've idolized, which at some point you will, that's a mighty steep drop. And what do we know about in the physical? Drops, the higher that a drop comes from, the more impact, the less chance of survival. Okay? I don't know who I'm speaking to today.
I want to,
go ahead.
I wanted to save it, but it's best for me to drop it there. That way you can keep dropping those gems. One thing that I learned from climbing the mountain or mountains, right, is that the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So never get comfortable. The top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. Go ahead, bro. I didn't want to lose that thought, bro.
No, and you're right on the money, because when you think that you've achieved everything, here's a good question for you, right? If you feel that you've achieved everything, then why does God have you here?
Keep climbing.
Exactly. Keep climbing. There is reason for all of it. Absolutely all of it. But if you feel that you've reached the top, number one, you need to, there's a lot of questions to ask when you feel that you've achieved the pinnacle of something and you feel like there's nothing else to climb. First and foremost, why would God have you here if that's the case? Because if you fulfilled your purpose, why would he need to have you here? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have us here just to do nothing. There's always more. Second, so ultimately, God doesn't want to bless more. Where's that? We should be receiving blessings upon blessings. The blessings should be abundant. All these kind of things are written in the word. You know what I'm saying? So you need to ask yourself, if there's nowhere else that you can climb, supposedly, and that's a lie, who benefits from you not continuing to climb? I think somebody's going to be opened up here. If you feel that you've reached that level and there's nothing else for you to do, who is it that you would want you to be comfortable being right where you are at? Because that ain't the Lord. I could tell you I could tell you absolutely that's not God. Absolutely, that's not God. You don't need that in your life. And that's the issue that a lot of us struggle with. So now this doesn't mean that if you got a spouse, go try to get like 3 or 4 spouses and some side chicks and all that stuff. That's not at all what I'm talking about. So please don't get it twisted, because you would absolutely be wrong in that. But it's to say, if you've gotten the relationship that you feel that you wanted, that you've been blessed with, how could it be better? How can that relationship be used to bless others? What could you do in the relationship to bless others, right? There's always another level, right? With your kids. Oh no, but my kids are real smart, or my kids are real this, or real talented. What more could be, what more would you want to see them blessed in? You know what I'm saying? In fact, let's take kids as an example, or if you don't have kids, nieces and nephews. If you gave something to a child, You're like, you know what? I want them to be blessed with this. Let's just say as an example. Um, let's say that they were looking to go to college, and it's in your ability to go and pay for their tuition. Let's just say that you can, right? Are you going to be a parent or an uncle or aunt that's going to be like, oh, I just blessed you with this. That's all you get from me? No, you would probably be like, let's call it what it is. If it's in your means, if you had the opportunity to go and bless your child with an apartment or a house for them to get started off right after they finish school, you wouldn't want to bless them with that too? Of course you would. You know what I'm saying? If you could bless them with a vehicle, wouldn't you want to do that as well to make their life easier? You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, as a parent, and you know it very well, bro, you always feel like there's more, that you can give your kids. Always. Because you want the best for them, right? You want to make their life easier if you can. Y'all don't think God operates that way? So when you got blessed supposedly with your car, you think that that's all God wants to give you? Oh, God only had me alive to bless me with my Lexus. That's real sad if that's what you believe. Oh, God only blessed me, he only wanted to bless me with a house, a car, kids, and a family. Really? Because that's pretty, and don't get me wrong, that's a blessing. But if you believe that that's all that he has you alive for, is for you to just have a husband or a wife, kids, a dog, and a car, you would be sadly mistaken. There's a lot more that he wants to do through your life. But some of us achieve certain goals, and you don't realize that what you start to lift up is those things that you've achieved. You lift them up to a status of God. And many times, you yourself lift yourself up as a God, and you don't even realize it. That's going to be a mighty hard drop, bro. A mighty hard drop. And take it from somebody who felt that the material things were everything. Like in terms of like, yo, this is so awesome that I have this. This is so awesome that I have that. Because when those things start to get lost or become the stresses in your life, it's a lot for you to, it's a heavy burden for you to have to carry. So with that said, where's your focus at? You know what I'm saying? Where's your focus at? Because a lot of us have been focusing on the wrong thing, and that's why we don't advance. And some of y'all will receive this message and be like, oh, this is good. But when you have this confrontation, you have a decision to make. Do you want to continue to live the same way, or you want to continue to live, or do you want to change your way of living? Because you have so much more ahead of you. And I would, just from us having gone through it before, bro, I would not wish upon anybody to start to have those, to start to have things taken away from them. Because trust me, the enemy wants to see you suffer. You know what I'm saying? At some point, he's going to have you suffer. He just does. It's his MO. It's actually how he keeps you in slavery. And with this, I'm going to end it and pass it back to you. There's a syndrome. I can't remember what it's called. And if somebody remembers what it's called, please go ahead and write it in the chat. There's a syndrome that many times is seen in war. I bring this up with war because we are in spiritual warfare 24/7, 365. It does not end whether you believe it or not, or see it or not. It is there. Okay. And this is why many of you guys find yourself in cycles where it's like you're like a roller coaster. You're up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, especially in your emotions, because the enemy knows how to keep you in your emotions. There's a syndrome, many times seen in war, where the when you take a prisoner, right, you mistreat the prisoner badly. I mean, talking about beatings, starvings, all kind of stuff.
PTSD?
It's not PTSD, because you get the PTSD afterwards.
Okay.
But this syndrome leads to you, I want to say it's Stockholm syndrome, and I could be wrong, leads to you going, and when you've suffered all this stuff, that same enemy comes back and offers you the food and offers you the drink and pretends to be nourishing you back, right? And they might continue to rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat, continue to repeat this whole cycle until they can use
You're
you.
right. Stockholm syndrome.
Okay, I had it right. Thank you.
Oh, and Judge, I had just confirmed as well.
Perfect. And at that point, they have control over you, right? Spiritual warfare is very similar to the warfare that you see in some cases here in the physical compared to the spiritual. Some of y'all go through these cycles. Your money's right, then you go through major difficulties. Your money's right, then you go through major difficulties. Or you go through a real good period in your relationship, and then a time of like terrible where it seems like it's the absolute worst. And then again, it's really good, or it's like that with your career, or it's like that with a lot of different things, right? Again, these bad things don't come from God, okay? They don't. You don't find those fruits in the things that the Lord gives you, which is the same way why the company that you keep, you need to check on the company that you keep, because if there's people in your life that are not showing the fruit of the Spirit, that are obvious, they can't, if they're not bringing anything positive, are they coming from God? You got to ask yourself the question, because if they're not, you got to remove them. And what happens is the enemy will bless you, right? You think that this is a blessing. You think that all these things that you receive are a blessing, but you don't realize that he's keeping you comfortable there. That's the top of the mountain, supposedly, for you, right? That's the limit. You become comfortable there. You're like, oh, I achieved this. I hit that level. And then he'll knock you down and have you suffer. Why? Because the moment that he blesses you again with that, supposedly blessing you with it, you fall back into it. And you're like, oh, there's that blessing again. And he continues to yo-yo you around all the time with that. All the time. And that's how he has control over you. Not only for you to do what he wants, but for you to never break through the ceiling. To never realize that you can scale more of a mountain. Because you feel that you plateaued, and that's the limit. Y'all got to wake up, because all that lies, bro. I'll leave it to you, little bro.
As you were talking, I had to rearrange where I was going to continue from, which is perfectly fine. But right before I continue, want to give a special thanks to Metatron for buying the badges, for supporting the platform. Thank you. He said, glad to be here again. It's always a pleasure to have you and everyone who takes the time to watch us. It really means a lot to us. Yeah, man, thank you. And just want to let everyone know you do have the option to support the platform by buying badges. You'll see the option on the bottom, right on the bottom center of the screen. You have the option to buy the badge. It'll support, you're not obligated to do so, but badges are always welcome. So if you can, that'll be great. If you can't, we completely understand. But to continue, big bro, we're dropping like major gems here, major gems tonight. Um, I had to rearrange where I was going to continue from. So I want to go ahead and say this here. Be there for others, but never leave yourself behind in the process, right? Be there for others, but never leave yourself behind. Because remember, priority is you and your health. That way you're able to do a lot for you and able to do a lot for the next person as well. Um, by keeping yourself on track, what we're trying to say, right? Because you can easily be influenced, you can easily be sidetracked, distractions, the obstacles that come our way. Life happens, right? Life isn't perfect. Just make sure that you surround yourself with people who are only going to lift you higher, who are going to keep you focused, maintain uh all that and support everything that you're trying to do in life, not only for you but for everyone else, right? Those who are going to support, who are not going to cause any issues. They're going to be there to help, right? They're going to be there to help, to continue to push you forward. We've been in, I'm sure we've all been in situations where we've been in a circle where which has had been it hasn't been any good for us. There weren't any good intentions towards us. Um, we've either been misunderstood or disrespected, and we still stuck there because we think, oh, no one's perfect. Maybe that person can change. Maybe they can realize that they were wrong. No, at the end, whenever you're receiving that type of energy, you have to be very careful because they can cause a lot of damage long term. Um, and you can feel when someone's energy is really not, when someone's not being real with you, right? The energy never lies. You can see it through actions. You can see it sometimes through what's being said to you, especially how you're feeling in that moment. I've been there plenty of times, and I've been there to the point where, oh, this person's going to change, or maybe my heart is so good that I don't, you know, pick up on it so fast, and I'm giving people not second chances, like multiple chances. And in the long run, it has affected me long term, you know, being around the wrong people, being influenced, looking out for the wrong people, right? Because sometimes you can always look out for everyone, but you got to be careful how you do it because people are there to stop you from getting to your destination. They're there to stop you, like you said before, big bro, how you're climbing that mountain, right? And think about the people that are distracting you as you're climbing, as you're getting through, as you're reaching that goal, as you're reaching the top. Think about the people that are stopping you, the people that want you to be in a stressful stage, super insecure, who don't want you to grow as a person, right? The energy never lies. The energy never lies. Um, to, to put that to get a better understanding of what I just finished saying, don't make the mistake of being so understanding that you overlook the fact that you're being disrespected. Plain and simple. How many of us have been there? I have plenty of times. Um, and big bro is so delicate, especially now. I feel like the older we get, the less time we have for that nonsense, right? Not saying that life is becoming shorter and shorter. It's just that because of all the responsibilities that we have, because of where we're heading, because of what we're doing, we can't afford to have those type of people around. We can't afford to have those type of influences, right? Around, which is why we have to just eliminate, right? Identify, you know what? If you meet someone today, you know, wow, is this person good? Is this person a good person? Are they full of good intentions? Why are um they here in my life today? There's definitely a purpose. What can I learn from this person? What can I receive from this person? What can I do for this person, right? Because it's not only about you receiving, it's also you giving, right? Because in return, you're going to receive whatever you put out in this world, you're going to receive. Um, Jad mentioned, amen, brother Jay, don't let other people get away with disrespecting you. Definitely not. Definitely not. And most of us learn this the hard way. But what is it that you are receiving from that person or that opportunity that you're receiving today? What is it that you're going to get from it? What are you going to learn from it? You're not being selfish by doing that, by evaluating, by questioning. You're not being selfish at all. You're just being extra careful, right? You're being extra careful. Many of us don't have time to waste. We have a family to feed. We have bills to pay. We got to keep a roof over our families. Um, we can't afford to remember, whatever goes wrong in your life, your family is going to be affected, right? We were able to afford these hits in the past when we were single, when we were alone, because we'll figure it out. We're not affecting anyone, right? It's not going to hurt anyone but us. So all we're doing is living and learning. All we're doing is moving, right? Moving and growing and making things happen. But now we can't afford this. You don't have time for it, believe it or not. Going back to the people that aren't changing certain habits, that aren't changing their routine, that aren't changing their lifestyle, they're still doing the same thing they were doing in their late teens, early 20s. Still doing the same thing. And I feel like there's something wrong there. Now if you are working extremely hard and you're playing hard, that's your life. That's on you. At least you're handling business. You're doing your thing, getting the things done. But there are people out there who are complaining today, like, oh, I just don't have enough money for this, or I don't have the funds for this. I'm not capable of doing this because I need such and such sources. Yeah, but what are you doing to gain those sources? Like what I mentioned today earlier in the episode. What are you doing to put yourself in a position to be better in general, to do better in general? What are you doing to do so? What are you doing to put yourself in a position where you're going to continue to grow? What are you doing to continue to heal? What are you doing? It's all about focusing on you. It's okay to be there for others. It's okay to enjoy life, but don't ever leave yourself behind. Don't. Don't ever leave yourself behind. And some people give up in life, right? They keep fighting through, being kicked down. They get discouraged. Then they're wondering why they're feeling this way. It all has to do with your day to day. What is it that you're doing? Who do you have around to uplift you, to get you out of those dark thoughts that you have, out of that dark season that you're in? Sometimes it takes building relationships, building connections with other people to help you change the way you see yourself, to help you change the way you see your life, to help you change the way you see your situations, to help you change your perspective and your mindset. How many of us think we got it handled? Like, we got it. I ain't got to pray. I ain't got to do this. I ain't got to do that. I ain't got to talk to nobody. I ain't got to go to nobody. I used to have 100K in the bank. I used to be a millionaire. I used to have a great job. My title was this. Don't ever forget that. On your way up, never forget the people that were there for you. Never forget the things that helped you reach that goal or climb to the top or accomplish that goal. Because on your way down, you're going to see the same people. On your way down, you're going to see the same people. And life is all about ups and downs. Life is all about ups and downs. You're going to have great seasons, but you can have horrible seasons. Just know that you're going to get through both, the good and the bad. You're going to get through both. Now, are you willing to improve your situation or make your situation worse? Are you willing to improve your situation or make it worse? Because no matter what season you're in, you have to stay on top of your game. You have to stay focused on you. You have to stay focused on what you're doing in the current moment. You have to stay focused on what the next goal is going to be. Because like Pastor Carlos mentioned before, it doesn't stop there once you reach the top, once you accomplish. I went ahead and added how when you climb one mountain, that's the bottom of the next. So never get comfortable because you're going to continue climbing and climbing every year that passes. No matter what age you are, you will always have goals. You will always have tasks to complete in order to maintain your finances, in order to maintain your sanity, your stability, in order to maintain your family. And especially for business owners. For business owners, you got to stay on top of what's trending, what's the new opportunity, right? For those who are working, who are employees, of course, you know, you're a bit more secure. You're receiving those checks. You just have to worry about getting the job done, working on getting promoted, right? Of course, but it never stops in the position you're in. You always want to continue to grow because not only you want to do more for you, but you want to do more for those around you. That means family, friends, and those you associate with on a regular. And even if it has nothing to do with your business or job, you have a life that you're living. You have so much that you've been going through and that you've gone through and that you've overcome. You see how many people out there are going through it. Wouldn't you be willing to help the next person get to where they want to be, become who they want to be, get them to where they want to be emotionally? Because it's not always finances. I don't ever get tired of saying this. Get them to where they want to be mentally and emotionally, spiritually, at that. It's only right. This is our side hustle. You know what I'm saying? This is our side hustle, and we're doing so much to make it our primary, to the point where we can actually focus on growing and helping others heal full time, not letting anything get in our way, not letting anything stop us. What am I trying to say by this? There's a lot of people that think that they have to become successful in order to be able to help. You can help while you're in the process. You can help while you're in the process, especially when it comes to this, to life. Because believe it or not, a lot of people out there, they're focused on the degree that they want to obtain, that position that they want to obtain. But your whole life, you've been receiving certificates, diplomas, and degrees with everything you've been through, with everything you've gotten through. You're the perfect candidate to help the next person. You got through depression. You got through anxiety. You got through those conditions that you were diagnosed with. You've healed from so many situations. Those are accomplishments themselves right there. But a lot of people don't see it that way because they feel like blessings is monetization, money. that they're receiving. And that's not always the case. That is not always the case. Good things will come. You got to stay in the fight. Have to stay in the fight. And just know that in order to be the best, you must be able to handle the worst. Whenever you find yourself in a difficult situation, it's like I mentioned, big bro, you know, I've said it plenty of times where I see myself in a situation now, and this whole mindset shifted in the most recent years. I see myself in a situation and I take it lightly. Does it affect me? Of course it does. It does affect me. Of course it does. I'm not going to say it doesn't. But I also remind myself there's a reason why I'm going through it. What am I going to learn from this? Who is it that I got to get through this situation or something worse or something least? Why?
If I could add a little note there.
Go ahead, big bro.
Some of those situations are things that I don't, and you can tell me if you disagree. Some of the situations are things that you yourself have not looked for. It's just like you've been hit with a situation, and others you can say are your own doing. Like, man, I shouldn't have made that decision. Again, explain but not excusing. You know, some of them you did it on your own. It was your own bad decision. Other times, like because it was just something that you wanted to do. Other times, because of other things that you've gotten hit with, it's moments where you're like, I just don't see any other way. I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way. So I'm going to make this decision because it helps to soothe in the short term, not realizing, or maybe sometimes even realizing, but you're like, I know that this can have long-term effects, but let me just put the Band-Aid on it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this will at least help for right now, not realizing that it's going to make it worse in the future. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's important to note. And again, you can disagree if you believe it's different, but sometimes those situations you've asked for, and sometimes you haven't. So sometimes they are your own doing too.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Like I said, like we've mentioned this in different ways, and I say pretty much the majority of our episodes. There's a lot of things that we don't ask for, right? But we're not gonna dwell. We're not going to sit and complain and be like, I never asked for this. Why is this happening to me? You just got to get up and keep moving forward. You got to fight the good fight. You got to get through, because if you stay there, that's exactly where the enemy wants you. Stunned, distracted. How many people, like you said this a few minutes ago, well, you linked it to money, but even problems have led people into addiction because it's just a easy way out. Using substances to disconnect, to receive relief. But the problems come right back the next day.
And sometimes it ain't even substances. Sometimes you use people. Just saying.
Yeah, that too. That's an addiction.
Or the addiction to the job.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go down a whole list.
Overworking. So not only are you leaving yourself behind, but most of the time for those who have family, children, you know, partner, they leave them behind as well. And then time passes. It goes by. And you start to notice, or very few start to notice, the valuable time that you're not giving your child or your children or your partner. And you should be doing so much more. That's when you start to realize. And you know, I'm going to put something out there, like even myself, I've had to make a major sacrifice this past year. It was a must. But it was with the intent not to continue more than this past year. It was to make changes for the better. And it's sad. It's sad because there's no handouts. There's no handouts out here. So there's times where we have to make these sacrifices, and you got to make it work somehow. But complaining ain't gonna do it. It's just getting up and getting out there and making it happen. Accepting your situation, finding the solution, and taking action. Whenever you choose to sacrifice your time, your energy, it has to be with a purpose. It has to be with a specific destination. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to do this? How is it going to be any better? You have to evaluate it. How is it going to be any better? How can I speed up my process? I'm sure there's people out there who are going through troubles with their finances, with debt. We all know how it happens with debt. If you pay the minimum, interest is going to continue to build up. And you're looking at a good, what, depending on the amount, of course, but just throwing examples out there, you may be paying 6 to 8 years, a balance, 6 to 8 years, which is why you can't get that house you want, which is why you can't get that car that your family needs or that you need. Remember, we're talking about needs here, not wants. We're talking about needs. You're unable to do so because the debt has you. It's wrapped around you. But by sacrificing, there's a purpose for that sacrifice. You know what? My family doesn't deserve being so limited. So if I take these few months or a year to wipe this out, I can make it possible for them. I can put my child in a better school. I can provide a tutor for my child. I can make sure that my child attends more activities than what he or she is doing now. It's a lot that comes to mind when you're going through these situations. And no one deserves to be miserable. No one deserves to be stuck in place, which is why having these conversations, we help each other heal. We help each other find a way. We help each other find a way in any given situation. This is why we talk about relationships. This is why we talk about finances. This is why we talk about mental health in general. Because it's all about putting you in the right mind, giving you the right thoughts, which are extremely necessary to keep you moving forward and past that situation and stage you're in. I wish we were able to forgive people's debt or assist. But if we're unable to do that, there's other ways that we can assist. And that's by helping you eliminate habits, eliminate those negative thoughts, putting you on the right track, shifting your mindset, your perspective to get you to the right place, to get you to that life you want to live, to get you to that peaceful state you want to be in, to receive the amount of peace you deserve. And in fact, I feel like I've learned so much in my troubles and sacrifices, and I learned to value many things in my life more because I start to realize what I've been missing out on, what I haven't been doing, that I should have been doing, that I could have been doing if it wasn't for this current sacrifice that I'm making right now. So there's always good in the bad. There's always good in the bad. There's always good. There's always a lesson in every single situation in our life, whether it's good or bad. There are major lessons out there. We just have to be willing to accept and receive. We have to be willing to accept and receive. And once we receive those blessings, is not to ever get comfortable and do things right. Once you get past that stage, once you go from a dark season into what you consider a better season, consider that a blessing. Consider that an opportunity. And what are you willing to do within that opportunity to lead you into the next season? Because there's going to be multiple seasons. For as long as we're alive, we have a lot of chapters ahead of us. We have a lot of chapters ahead of us. So how are you willing to write your story? Are you going to stay in chapter 25? Are you going to stay in chapter 30, 38, 40? Or are you going to continue to write your story? And always keep in mind, as you're writing your story, there's people reading your book of your life, especially when you're willing to be open about it and express yourself and spread the love, spread the wisdom, spread your experiences, spread your testimonies, which is going to lead the way for many people. It's going to lead the way for many people. People will know what the next steps will be, what to stay away from, what people are no good, what people are good for them, what am I supposed to be receiving from this person, who's going to uplift me, who's going to cause damage, to learn how to receive these red flags, the signals. There's so much. If people are willing to have these type of conversations, instead of just serving margaritas and talking about nonsense, if they talk about life and how they're gonna get through, I think this world would be so much different, a lot more different. There's so much that we would be able to avoid before things happen, or if we are already in that situation, we'll know how to get out of it without making the situation worse.
It actually would piggyback off of something that we talked about last week, which where the word mentions helping to carry each other's burdens. You know what I'm saying? Because it would help each person to carry the burdens so that that person that's feeling weighed down by the things that they're going through, you know, again, whether they're deserved or not, it would help to lift that burden, you know? So continue, bro.
Yeah, no, and you know what just came to mind as I was thinking, there's been many people in the past who look at other people's lives and judge them. Why would they even do that? I'm glad I'm not going through that. Um, I hate to break it to you. We're still young. We still have a whole life ahead of us, and we don't know what can happen in our life. So the last thing we should be doing is judging others, because you never know what's going to come and knock you down. You never know the decisions that you'll have to make for whatever reason. You know, God forbid, of course, hopefully not. But you never know what turn your life can take, which is why I've always been about not judging others, um, and just not talking on other people's situation in general. Because again, that could be me. Now, what I could do is what I know about that person, I can learn from that person. I wouldn't want to be there. What is it that I have to do to make sure something like that doesn't happen? Man, I'm willing to have that conversation with that person. Like, you know, let me make sure they're good in the first place. Let me have this convo with them. Let me just make sure they're right in the mind, you know. How was their experience? That's what it's all about. It's just having these conversations. But there's been people in the past, man, that they saw the stuff that I went through, and they think I don't know what they were talking, but I know exactly what they said. And they found themselves in situations later where they learned their lesson, and they never thought they were going to go through a situation. It doesn't have to be the same situation, but still, life ain't perfect. I'm not perfect, and I got through just fine. And I'm glad that there are people out there getting through, because there's people out there that won't make it through. They're broken. They're affected today. There are people out there that lose their mind because of the pressure they received in their most toughest time in their life. That could have been me. I could have chose not to change. I could have been one to choose an unhealthy lifestyle, stick with unhealthy people, unhealthy traits, unhealthy relationships. But I knew that wasn't what my life was supposed to be. It was what it was then. But because of that, my life is what it is today. Your life is what it is today because of your past experience, because of your past decisions, because of your current decisions. Our life is based on the decisions we've been making all along, the perspective, the mindset. And moving forward, your life will be what your life is based on your decisions, your perspective, and mindset today. And Big Bro, I just want to add something, because I pretty much put everything out already. Anyone out there who's going through it or knows someone going through it, I mentioned this early on, before we started the topic today. Make sure that you reach out, send that person a message, or send them the right sources, the right people to get them on track. Send them our content. Send them a good message. Grab a clip and just send it over to them. If you come across any content that Pastor Carlos and I create, or even the content that I upload on a daily basis, pass it on to the next person. You never know when they have to receive, when someone is in need of receiving. You don't know who's thinking what out there. There's people out there who are so close to committing suicide. There's people out there harming themselves in many ways, externally and internally. There's people out there who are living a double life because of the stress they're experiencing. You see one person during the day and a totally different person, which is the person you're not seeing, what they're doing at home or in their free time, in order for them to cope and manage the pressure that they're receiving because of their current situation. Reach out, send that text, make that call. And if you know of anyone, and of course, you're unable to help because you don't know what to say or what to do, please have them DM us. We'll be here for them. Or if there's anyone that we should be reaching out to, send us a DM with the username or with the contact, and we'll be more than happy to reach out. Because everyone matters, no matter what. Everyone matters, no matter what. Go ahead, baby, bro. I think I got it all out, man.
No, again, you're absolutely right. And you know, I think what's important to note, what's past is past. Getting to the root of it all is important, and that's why we brought up this topic tonight. Getting to the root of it is important, but what is even more important is making the decision of what you're going to do moving forward. And only you can determine how long you want to wait. Only you can determine if you want to continue being where you at. If you want to continue being where you at, be where you at. Nobody's going to push you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to do that. But you have to make that decision. God doesn't make that decision for you. We can't make that decision for you. All we can do, God wants a message to be sent. He delivers messengers to send the message. We give you the message. You make the determination. You do not, and I think this is important, you do not have to check off certain boxes to make the decision to get things right, to get things started, to get moving in the direction that you know that you should be moving toward. And that's the biggest mistake. And that's one of the biggest lies that the enemy has us in. I got to change this. I got to do that. I got to check off these boxes. I got to get this right. I got to get that right. I got to do all this stuff. You can start today. You just need to make the decision. I want to start today. And once you make that decision, I'm going to start today. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect tomorrow, but it's going to be an ongoing process. And each day, just pick up your cross and keep moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Just continue to move forward, knowing that you can stumble, knowing that you can fall. But check where your heart's at as you move forward. And believe me, as you're moving forward, there will be progression. Unquestionably, there's going to be progression. But you have to make the decision to start taking those steps. And you're not going to progress until you take the steps. So why put it off? Make the decision now. And if you know of people that need the help, or you yourself feel that you need the help, why put it off? Make the decision now. It's not going to help you to put it off. The hole only gets dug deeper. But you can make the decision to move forward. And I hope that those of y'all that are receiving that today, that y'all do that, you know? Y'all really do that. So that's where I'm at, bro.
Definitely, big bro. If there's anyone who wants to go ahead and join the live, anything they want to say, please feel free to do so. We'll be more than happy to get you on, to get you connected. Anything you want to go ahead and mention in the comment section before we disconnect in a few minutes, please feel free to do so. For those who want to say anything, ask a question, but they want to keep it anonymous, you have the option on the bottom right corner, the bubble with the question mark. Once you click there, you can go ahead and type your statement and question, and we'll be able to answer it or give the best advice as possible. Definitely today was another blessing. We got the message across, and I'm hoping many received. I'm hoping that many are willing to share with a family, friend, or associate. Please, you have the option on the bottom right corner, paper plane. You can send the live. And even once the live is over, it is posted on our profile. You have the paper plane to send it out to your friends, family, associates, via DM, via email, via text. So please, if you can, do so. You never know when someone needs a good message. You can click the link in my bio. Take a look at the link in my bio. I have our YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. I have my clothing brand. Please make sure to check that out. I do have a section where you can donate as well there. And all the way at the bottom, you have I'll have two links, one for email, one for SMS text. Feel free to click on either list and drop your contact, because soon we will be streaming through YouTube. YouTube, reason being because it's so much better, so much easier for those who want to watch the live and join the live. They'll be able to watch it without having an account. if you share with someone the link, they'll be able to join, and an account is not necessary. Versus through Instagram, if you send them the live, they would have to be signed up with Instagram. So definitely check the links out in my bio. Really want to thank everyone again on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for joining us, for taking the time to join us. It really means a lot to us. Once again, the most important thing for us, our major goal is for you to receive, um, and pass it on to the next. Pass it on to the next. Don't keep these blessings to yourself. Bless others to be blessed, for sure.
You know, thank you guys, everybody who joins us week after week. The journey's real. Seeing the transformation is real, and I can't wait for us to be able to share the things that are coming in the coming weeks. It's gonna be crazy. And, God's making a move, man, and I can't wait to see people freed from the mindset that they got.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a real blessing.
definitely. Louis, what's up, man? What's up? So once again, I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. I feel like we got the message across today. We were able to uh, put out the major blessing out. Don't forget to pass it on to the next. This was episode 63. We will be back next week for episode 64. Episode 64, man. I mean, it's been quite a journey. And again, we're not planning on stopping there. So we are on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Really appreciate having you all connected with us, for taking the time. Please make sure not to miss out. Before we disconnect, I do have the live video scheduled. I scheduled the live video on my profile. You have the option to click on the link. It'll say episode 64 is to receive the notification. You'll receive 3 notifications: 3 days before, 2 days before, and the day before and the day of. So please make sure to click, and that way you can receive the notification. That way you won't miss the live. And for those who do miss the live or join late, no worries. We do have our live on the YouTube. So if you go on the link in my bio, our YouTube channel, you'll be able to view all the episodes there. And please don't keep those episodes to yourself. Pass it on to the next person. Pass it
Share 'em.
to family, friends, or associate, everyone in general. Louis, thank you, bro. That's the goal, man. That's the purpose. We just got to keep going, no matter what. No matter what, nonstop. Can't stop, won't stop. Appreciate everyone. We'll see you next week, Thursday. Please don't miss out for episode 64. And always remember, patience is a virtue and faith is the substance. Love you all. Have a good night. See you all next week.
God bless y'all.
Amen.